On item 8 on the agenda, to receive a presentation from Councillor Mrs. Kaye Corfe, and this is time limited. I'm not being rude, Kaye, but we did actually agree at the meeting, so over to you.
I've got my stopwatch ready. Right, just to check, can you all hear me okay? You can all hear me? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, right. So, I'm giving you a talk about housing and homelessness tonight. For those of you that know me, you'll know it's a topic that's really close to my heart, and you've probably heard me talk about it before. I felt it was really important as not only a member of our community, but as an elected town councillor, that I should share more of my knowledge on housing and homelessness with all of you. Thank you for voting in favour of me doing this talk, and thank you for everyone that's attended this evening. I asked to do this talk to share my knowledge, to share my experiences, and to share my privilege. The subject of housing and homelessness played a massive part in why I stood in the elections to become a town councillor. Housing and homelessness is a subject I have a lot of knowledge in. I see the effects that homelessness and the lack of options locally for decent, affordable accommodation has on our community. It has to change. I speak to a lot of people in Bideford and the wider area of Torridge regularly. I speak to people from all walks of life. The most regular topic that's brought up is housing. People are scared, angry and fed up. Fed up of seeing rents rise, numbers of properties available reduce, and they are right to feel this. I understand the reasons this is happening. I do not understand why we as a society and our community allow it to keep happening. It's getting worse, and it will continue to get worse. Town or parish council is the lowest level of politics. Low level does not mean it can't make change. Most things start from low level and grow bigger. I believe in grassroots. Without the seed, the tree cannot grow and mature. I really hope to keep your attention for the next 13 minutes now. I hope that you will hear me. What is homelessness? You may be homeless if you're sleeping rough, don't have rights to stay where you are, or are living in unsuitable housing. The definition of homelessness means not having a home. You are homeless if you have nowhere to stay and are living on the streets. But you can be homeless even if you have a roof over your head. You can count as homeless if you are staying with friends or family, staying in a hostel, night shelter or B&B, squatting, at risk of violence or abuse in your home, living in poor conditions that affect your health, living apart from your family because you don't have a place to live together. Homelessness affects a wide variety of people. Some people may be more vulnerable to homelessness. You may be at risk if you're leaving home for the first time or the care leaver, pregnant with nowhere to stay when baby comes, struggling to live on benefits or a low income, from abroad without the right to claim benefits, an asylum seeker or refugee, or leaving prison. There's a variety of reasons that lead to homelessness. These can include, but aren't exclusive, being evicted, splitting from your partner, being asked to leave by friends or family, domestic violence and abuse, harassment by neighbours, or the disaster, such as a fire or flood. I work for the local charity that supports people that are or were homeless. I've worked for them for 8 years and have helped them to deliver several different projects. Prior to working for them, I'd worked in various care and support roles across the country since I was 19. It's the type of work that's more of a vocation and really gets under your skin. Through my current work and past working roles, I have a really good understanding of the reasons that people become homeless and the difficulties that come with trying to end homelessness. but I can hand on heart say that I don't understand why it has to continue to exist. If I was to ask anyone, what is homelessness? It's a simple question with a simple answer. It's someone without a home. But the reality of homelessness is not straightforward. It's complex, confusing, challenging, and life-changing. My first experience of homelessness was seeing a man with a white beard in a large tent on the grass verge in the middle of a dual carriageway in Wolverhampton. Me and my siblings would ask my parents to drive past there so we could get a glimpse of him. To us as children, he was a guy in a fort, keeping the area tidy, sweeping the leaves and feeding the wildlife. My mum would often comment, why would someone want to live there? Why haven't the council moved him on? I remember thinking, why does he need to be moved on? Children have a wonderful way of seeing things. As a child, I just saw the man living there that wasn't causing anyone any issue. I thought he was wonderful. Years later, I watched a documentary about this man, about his story and his background. He had lived in a house. He'd had a job and a wife and a child. But tragically, his wife and child had been killed in an accident. And after that, he couldn't bear to live between four walls. He had experienced trauma, and this trauma changed his path, his way of living. For him, it didn't work out too bad. He lived to an old age and found a place that he could call home for him. A bigger proportion of single homeless people are single adults, but homelessness does affect children, young adults and families. And we see this locally, only too often. Homelessness is non-discriminatory. Doesn't matter who you are. Homelessness can just pop up, poof, at any time. Trust me. Families can be particularly at risk of homelessness if they're living in overcrowded situations, unfit conditions. I know some families whose children do not know what it's like to have a permanent home or their own bedroom. Families living around the corner from where we are sitting right now. Look on Zoopla, Rightmove, your local paper that might be sitting on your kitchen table. The options of local, affordable, decent accommodation are slim. And for each property that is available and just about affordable, there's so many people going after that property. When someone finds themselves homeless or is aware that they're at risk of becoming homeless, the advice is for them to attend their local council, their local housing options team, for the example, Torridge District Council. I can tell you, hand on heart, that TDC Housing Options team are the caring, understanding, hard-working team that have a deep and clear understanding of supporting people to find accommodation. They work in a person-centred and caring way to try and ensure that people don't have to hit the streets. They have excellent connections with landlords and estate agents, but they can't help everyone immediately, and there's limitations to the service that they can provide. If they can provide temporary emergency accommodation, they will, but this is not regularly possible. So that person will have to walk away and try and find a bed or sleep rough that night. So when someone walks away from the council knowing that they haven't got accommodation that night, where do they go? How do they even begin to find somewhere to sleep? Many people can find a sofa for a few nights with a friend or a relative, but that doesn't last long. There will be other sofas. There will be other places for them to stay, but not the kind of places that are going to be safe, supportive and help them. As soon as someone becomes homeless, their general mental health and well-being will start to deteriorate significantly. When someone becomes homeless, they will feel a loss of dignity, shame. They'll feel desperate and scared. One night of homelessness increases your risk of becoming long-term homeless and then entrenched then an entrenched rough sleeper. An entrenched rough sleeper is someone that's been street sleeping for at least 6 months. When you become homeless, your whole life is affected. Loss of job, friendships, relationships, loss of belongings, not able to see your kids. The home is at the centre of everyone's life. We are all sat in our homes right now. For someone that's homeless and presenting to the housing options team, there may be a number of options: a room in a shared house privately, self-contained accommodation privately, i.e. a 1-bedroom flat, or securing a job with accommodation attached, though that's not a very likely option these days. Many people that become homeless have come to this situation through a number of reasons: breakdown in relationship, poor mental health, debt, loss of job. So even before losing their home, they've got all these difficulties in their life. Throw in homelessness and it's a recipe for disaster. Try getting a new place to live when you've got a poor credit rating, you're not looking or feeling your best, and you feel utterly low and desperate. Homelessness has a lasting effect on people. When you're homeless, you're in a constant fight or flight mode, and it has a huge toll on the mind and body. Just a few short nights, weeks or months can have a lasting, life-lasting effect on you. I'm one of those people, so I know what I'm talking about. There's a number of alternate accommodations, such as supported accommodation. I help to run 3 lots of supported accommodation in Bideford and Barnstable. I have a saying that I like to say: just because it's a roof doesn't mean it's the right roof. I like to be able to choose what happens in my life. Imagine not having a choice of where you live. Imagine being told that your only option is a shared house with 7, 8, 9 other people that are strangers to you. You've got your own room, but you have to share the kitchen, the lounge, the bathroom with them. To get an offer of supported accommodation means to get referred by a charity or agency. You've already told your story to the housing options officer. Each time you get put forward for an accommodation option, you have to retell your story. Most of the people that I support on a daily basis have had to tell their story at least 10 times. Imagine having to tell your story, your personal information, the things that have gone wrong in your life. Imagine having to tell that 10 times. Each time, it's re-traumatising. As a society, we often expect or ask the person that is homeless to make the change. What if we turn that upside down and we start making the changes? Every major charity or think tank, i.e. shelter, every one of them agrees that there is one way to end homelessness, and that is to build more social and council housing. Rents are rising beyond the housing benefit rates, quality of accommodation is dropping, and the choice of accommodation is almost non-existent. I use a tool for colleagues, for people I support, about equality and choice. And it's a picture of a football ground, and there's a live match going on, but there's a wall, and there's 3 people that want to watch that match. One's short, one's medium, one's large or tall. None of them can see over the wall. Each one of them are given the same size stool. They all stand on the stool, only the tallest one can still see over the wall. The middle-sized guy and the small guy still can't see. But we've treated them equally, haven't we? Because we've given them all the same size stool. It's the same in housing. One option doesn't fit all. A lot of you will know that I've got a mural on the side of my house that says "Kill Your Speed." And on the front of my house, I've got another mural. Part of the mural is a guy called Eric wrapped in a sleeping bag, rough sleeping. And next to him is a dog called Percy. I purposely had it painted so it's not obvious straight away that it's a homeless person. because homeless people are regularly overlooked and looked at like rubbish. I'm just going to end with something. I want homeless people to be supported unconditionally, without conditions, without judgment and given choice. I'm going to tell you something about choice. I experienced 10 nights, a couple of weeks out on the street, and I was really hungry one day, and somebody really kindly bought me a sandwich, and I was so hungry, but I couldn't eat that sandwich because it was tuna, and tuna makes me feel sick. If they'd have asked me what sandwich I wanted and it had been my choice, it could have been something I could have eaten. These people are part of our community. It's all of our problem. I am asking you to think about what I have said. I am asking you to ask me anything at any time about homelessness. I am asking you that if this talk has moved you, made you angry, made you think that change is needed, come and speak to me soon. I believe that we need more social housing, to rebuild council housing, and to do that we need a system change. This will be no small feat. It will need hard work, determination, passion and strength. I can't do it alone or with a small group. I need a community to walk with me and make this change. Thank you.